Hi, I'm Ebony Bones and I play well with others.
La la
I kind of got into making music mainly out of boredom and having quite a disdain for what was playing on UK radio at the time. And ironically, a track I made ended up on UK radio, but it was very organic and sort of word of mouth. And, you know, it was encouraging. And so I thought, okay, if I can do one, let's see if I can do another. That turned into 4, turned into 8, turned into an album, which was released a few months ago and was first released in Japan, where it debuted top 10 in the iTunes, and it will be released here in the US spring, summertime.
Walking on water, that's where we are.
I love music, you know, the visual aspect reflecting the music as such, you know. I grew up on everything from Led Zeppelin to Parliament, Funkadelic, you know, artists whose art also reflected their visual art. And I think that's part of why I started out kind of making costumes and making the music, and it being a very sort of DIY thing. In the 80s, when I was born, there was race riots and lots of segregation. You know, there was this real divide, and the only thing that galvanised people was music. And so you had, like, suddenly punk taken from reggae and communities mixing in clubs, and that was only the music that did that. And it was a really magical time, and that's, you know, a time of which I grew up in and really gravitated to.
Get behind me.
You know, it's so nice to kind of take different cultural elements, like my guitarist who is from Japan and my keyboardist is from Yorkshire, and, you know, be in playing a gig in India or Lisbon or LA or wherever, you know, and be sharing something of their culture in different places with an album that's not even released. You know, this music is really, you know, if anything, a spiritual language. And, you know, it communicates with people in ways that I don't feel sport ever does, even though that galvanises people. Well, the album's called Bone of My Bones, and that's taken from the book of Genesis. But for me, it kind of feels like this is my kind of musical Genesis, is my beginning, and it felt like a good place to start with a scripture from the Bible. And I find the Bible to be one of the most interesting books, particularly the book of Revelations, which used to scare the hell out of me. And I never particularly grew up in a religious family, but I was always very gravitated to that book for some reason. And anything that's really magical, I kind of take from. And songs like We Know All About You, which have political references, or Warrior, or In God We Trust. There's a real juxtaposition between how it looks and how it sounds and what it may be about. You know, I feel like this decade will be a really exciting time, because with, you know, the melting pot of people taking from different influences, it's going to be very interesting as to what new artists are going to do and how that's going to develop.